Come on.
All right, everybody. You know what time it is. It's FranchisOR Bust. Trevor is here bringing you the weekly content from the world of franchising. And as always, bringing the fire, bringing the excitement. Katie's with me.
Bring the excitement. You know me. I'm going to get to chatting too much and just ruin this whole podcast.
That's her game. And then today we are blown away and excited to have with us Adam Contos, CEO of RE/MAX. And I'm going to tell you what, just kind of a very, very exciting guy in a lot of ways because of the things that he knows and is going to inform us about when it comes to not only the world of franchising, but the world of just leadership and understanding motivation, et cetera. So Adam, thank you so much for being on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Thanks to you guys for having me here. This is really exciting. And you've got a great crew going on here, Trevor and Katie, and an awesome listener group here. So looking forward to this.
Outstanding.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, man. So Adam, let's kind of start broad and then we're going to zero in. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on right now as the CEO of RE/MAX, and maybe a little bit about, your kind of your role there, and really more than that, really just kind of your role inside the world of franchising and how you're engaged there, and if any other franchise groups that you may be a part of right now.
Awesome. All right, Trevor. I started with RE/MAX about 18 years ago, actually 19 years ago, if you count consulting for the company. Everybody knows RE/MAX is the global real estate brand, the red, white, and blue balloon, and stepped into RE/MAX after an 11-year career in law enforcement. I used to run a SWAT team. So we would kick doors and blow things up and save people and drive fast. It was a fun job.
Wow.
And I've always been an entrepreneur, like so many people in franchising. And I jumped into RE/MAX as a contractor. Then they hired me full-time in 2004, worked my way up through the company doing everything in franchising, from franchise servicing as a franchise consultant to franchise sales and marketing and tech, chief operating officer, co-CEO and CEO of RE/MAX Holdings. So you'll notice I said RE/MAX Holdings there. As I got into the C-suite, we started developing other franchise brands and making acquisitions. So over the past 5 years, we started a second franchise company, Motto Mortgage, one of the fastest growing emerging franchisors in the U.S., over 300 units sold and about 200 open now. So, and this is in 5 years. It's a great brand, growing well. RE/MAX continues to grow globally, about 142,000 real estate agents around the world in roughly 8,700 franchise locations for that. And then we got into the data, tech, AI, and web services space by acquiring and building technology and data companies. So been building that. 2021 was a record for us. Q3 was a record quarter for revenue, EBITDA, and EPS. We're a public company, so can't release Q4 quite yet. Mm-hmm. After this week, I'll be able to tell you what happened there. But anyhow, I was taking a look around and I thought, what's next for Adam? And I thought, well, if you're going to go do something on top. So I actually tendered my resignation as CEO of RE/MAX to go out and help emerging franchisors, help existing franchisors and do business coaching and consulting, build executive teams. You and I talked a little bit about that offline. And so the future is exciting for me, and look forward to that. So, and also I'm on the board of the IFA, been there a couple of years, working with all of the franchisors and franchisees and suppliers in the IFA.
So safe to say we've got an expert with us. So let's dive in a little bit then into some things that, make franchise brands succeed. The culture is set. We know at the franchisor level, a lot of the decisions about some important things and processes, et cetera, are set. So if you had to kind of take a step back and look and say, what is it for, and I want to zero in on two things. So you've got a big brand in RE/MAX, and then you had an emerging brand over the last 5 years, both one established, very successful, one up and coming and becoming successful. What two items kind of in each really drives a lot of that sort of franchisor culture set, if you will? So you're the CEO, A lot of what you control is the tone. A lot of what you control is the culture and how things are going to move forward. Talk about big brand versus emerging brand, and if there is a difference really in kind of the tone and the culture that you set with each one.
Sure. So, when we wake up in the morning as both a franchisor and a franchisee, we have to think about a few things. And the interesting piece about franchising is anybody in franchising. So if you have franchise, either the Z or the ZOR in, your category, maybe you're a franchisee or maybe you're a franchisor. Here's the reality is we eat what we kill every single day. So these are entrepreneurial businesses, both the Z and the ZOR. One is the larger umbrella, obviously, or maybe you're an area developer or a sub franchisor or something like that. But the reality is you've got to be picking up the phone and you need to go be finding clients that want to grow your brand every single day. And, that's everybody goes, well, that's a franchisor's challenge. Well, it's actually everybody's challenge because as a franchisee, it's the same thing. If we don't have somebody standing in front of the cash register, the proverbial cash register, whether it's online or it's a real cash register someplace, making that ring every day, we're not making money. Same thing with franchisor. If that's not happening for the franchisee, or if you're not bringing in new franchisees, you're not making money. So ultimately, we have to think about a few things here. One is, do we have the culture in our organization where people want to grow their business? Because so many people get into franchising and think, oh, this is a money machine. I'm going to put it in the corner, plug it in, and it's going to turn out cash for me. Not the case. You have to grow it every day. So question I have for everybody on this is, what are you doing to grow your company today? And that doesn't mean going, oh, it's Monday. Today's President's Day, actually, when we're recording this. So in the U.S., the banks are closed. A lot of businesses are closed. But the reality is franchising is open for business. Mm-hmm. So what are you doing to grow your business? So how do you grow a business? Well, effectively, it comes down to, and Trevor, you nailed it, the culture of growth in the organization, communicated clearly, regularly to everyone. And then beyond that, we get into onboarding. We come to the repeated, consistent efforts of people on a daily basis. So all of those things play together to what are you doing today to grow your business, and how do we make that cash register ring and enjoy ourselves? Because that's really our culture as well. We're in this because we want to work for ourselves, not somebody else. And that's what franchising is about.
It's interesting. You liken franchising and being a franchisee or franchisor to really kind of the day-to-day struggles that any entrepreneur would have. And that is, you got to get up, you got to make it happen. And it can be a misnomer out there that, hey, I just bought this thing. It works everywhere else. So therefore, it's going to work for me. But, it's good to hear your perspective there to say, no, you're still got to get up and have that inward motivation to get rolling. What are some, okay, so got to set the culture. The culture is you get up, you get going, let's win together, et cetera. I think that's extremely valuable. What about some pitfalls that you've seen throughout the years, in the franchise space when it comes to, let's zero on maybe communication, because I find your position interesting. You've got a ton of franchisees and you have a lot, it's a big organization. How does communication between the franchisor and the franchisee, happen inside of a big group, and maybe even big versus small? And then what do you do? What processes, what systems do you have in place to ensure that the message is being received and that, the goals, et cetera, are really communicating down, not just communicating down, but the reception of the communication back is happening as well?
I love this question because this is really one of the perpetual challenges or perpetual complaints that happen in franchising. And that being that somebody always says, well, I never hear from them. And it's interesting because when a franchisee stops hearing from the franchisor, and franchisees, you know what I'm talking about, and franchisors, you know what I'm talking about, when that communication slowdown happens, people feel like the value has depleted in that relationship. Think about it with your significant other. And you look at it and you go, you're not communicating anymore. What happens when we lack communication? Relationships dwindle. Okay. That's just the reality. So we have to take a look at two different aspects of communication. We have to communicate a certain way, the how we're communicating, and then we have to communicate with a certain frequency, the how often we're communicating. So we've got what we're saying, what we're doing. And a lot of times a hierarchy falls into place with some of these things. And we start these ego battles between franchisees and franchisors. The franchisor going, oh, well, we'll just replace you or something like that, which is, that's not the intent of any of this. Nobody wants to replace anybody. Everybody wants to help everybody succeed. So let's just agree upon that between the Z and the ZOR on this. And then what does that mean you're communicating with? You're communicating with humility over ego, because if everybody's communicating with egos, those egos start battling with each other, and there's clashes, and then there's arguments and Z's in, franchisee meetings and things like that. We've all been there. We've seen people, you're encroaching on my territory, or, that was supposed to be my customer, or, who knows what. You're giving the brand a band name, things like that. If we checked our egos at the door, the proverbial door for any time we communicate, and we looked at the best interest for everybody overall, for the brand enhancement and growth, we wouldn't communicate with egos. We would communicate with humility and caring for each other, and know that we're all together facing the same direction, trying to accomplish the same thing. So that's the first thing, how we communicate. Second thing is, how often do we communicate? I believe in a set communication regimen, and there's a way to do this. I love video. So FranchisOR CEOs, listen up. If you're not on video to your franchisees, you're missing out. Why? Because if they don't see you, they don't trust you and believe in you. Okay? So get on video. I'm in a video studio right now.
Yeah.
Okay? I've got one in my basement. I've got one at our headquarters, and I've got one at my offsite office that I want to go get away to and just go work when I don't want to be distracted. So, get on video. And what does getting on video mean? It doesn't mean once or twice. It means you better be on there 40 to 60 times a year. Okay? 40 to 60 times a year. And everybody's going, I don't know what to say. Well, go watch my videos. There's plenty to say. Okay? You don't have to talk about your color of paint, or your new product, or your new service, or whatever. Just talk about how to be a good leader. People want to know that if you're saying that and you're doing that, that they can believe and trust in you. This frequency of communication needs to be dependable. You have to be dependent upon where people can hear from you so often. I believe, if somebody's struggling with communicating with you, reach out twice a week. It should be video, could be a phone call. I'm not a fan of just a text, email, frankly, because text has no emotional intelligence to it. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, send a video via email or text or something like that, and reach out that way. And then, hop on Zooms. We all know how to do that now. It's not a mystery. Everybody will show up. They've done it before. No excuses. And then get out there in person in order to be seen twice a week somehow, be in person, like at least every 3 to 6 months, and be available, for crying out loud. My franchisees, any of my almost 9,000 franchisees can call me, and I answer the phone. And if I'm not available, I have somebody else get right back to them, but we care about them personally. So have that communication regimen in order to be present and be trustworthy as a result.
I think you touched on a lot of good points there. And Katie, are you listening? That's why we have to communicate, okay? Every day. Okay. You just heard it right here.
Sorry,
but no,
I do that earlier.
We stop avoiding.
Just taking notes.
Yeah. Don't avoid me. It's important. We have to talk to each other.
This may come back to haunt you, Trevor.
That's right. So I think one of the things you're really highlighting there, which I appreciate, is making sure that you're treating the franchisee, which at the franchisor level, your ultimate objective, similar to the franchisees, is, hey, we all want to grow. So the franchisees themselves, they got to grow. They got to get new business. They got to grow. They got to follow the game plan, and they got to succeed. So the franchisor is pushing for that to happen. You want that to happen because ultimately that's how everybody wins. And setting that culture which flows into the communication style of what I'm hearing is really just being genuine. And it's hard to be genuine if you don't know somebody and you can't see them and you don't hear from them and you don't know what they're up to and you don't know what's going on. So maybe talk a little bit about that concept a little, at the franchisor level, because I'm picking up on a theme here of like trust and build trust and help them and things like that. So Talk about how being genuine, they see your face, they see who you are, they like your mannerisms, etc. Talk about how that genuineness really translates into the success for the franchisees.
It's fascinating you ask that, because the number one trait that people want in a business to do business with that person or with that company, and this is at any of the cascading levels that we deal with. So like at Remax, we're B2B to B2C. Okay. So business to business to business to consumer. A lot of franchise. So, and that's the franchisor. So how many B's are in your cascading waterfall of business to business franchisors? I mean, you could have 3 or 4 of them like I do, or you could be direct B2C if you're a franchisee. I don't think, I mean, most franchisors are not business to consumer. So you're usually business to franchisor to franchisee, which is B2B, franchisee to consumer. So, the reality is you got to think about one thing, and that's that nobody cares how much you know and how cool your product is or your service until they know how much you care about them. I was on a panel with Forrester Research at the beginning of COVID, and we sat there and they did all these big studies, and we talked to all these different CEOs, and it comes down to people want 3 things. They want, in this order, they like to hear these words: trust, safety, inclusion. Okay. So if you think about those 3 words, and you can go back and look at our marketing materials, and we integrate all 3 of those concepts into all of our marketing materials. But trust, safety, and inclusion. Why? Because people want to trust that you care about them, really more than anything. All of the expectations were wiped clear at the onset of the pandemic in 2020, and everybody says, I just want to know people can be trusted before I do business with them. So think about that first. And I started coining this phrase, and that's presence creates trust. And it's true. If you think about somebody leaving your life and then coming back, do you still have that same trust when they left your life? No, you don't. You want it, you want to believe, but you don't have it because there hasn't been that currency deposited in that trust account over, every single time people see you and they believe in you. And guess what? By the way, business leaders, I don't care if you're a Z or a ZOR or whatever you are, the more that people see you and start and trust you, the higher that account gets in balance. And if you screw something up, and we all do, maybe you said the wrong thing, maybe somebody just misinterpreted what you said or something like that. If that account is not at its maximum in trust, people instantly are going to bankrupt you with the trust. They're going to go, I don't like this person because they said that. But if they've seen all these other things from you, they're going to go, they probably didn't mean that because I know they're a genuinely good person. I trust them a lot. So they'll overlook a screw up here and there, as long as you just don't keep doing the same screw up and it's not some, massive scourge against society or something like that. They'll believe that it was a mistake, and it probably is. So we've got that presence creates trust. The second piece that goes with this that fits right into it is, and franchisees, listen up here because this is really important to you, and that's top of mind is first in line. Top of mind is first in line. So trust creates top of mind. What happens when you're top of mind? You're first in line when it comes to a transaction, a business transaction of some sort. Maybe you're a plumber, an electrician, or a hairstylist, or you sell pizzas, or who knows what your franchise is. Maybe you pick up trash. I don't know. But the reality is we all want to be top of mind when somebody needs our product or service. And in franchising, we provide a unique product or service that aligns with our franchise brand. So put those 2 things together, the trust is there. People will continuously do business. And here's the other thing. They will refer you to people that they know. You know what that's called? It's called earned marketing. Earned marketing. When other people pay that trust back that you've deposited, and you earn that other business that way. So you have paid, owned, and earned marketing that's earned because of what you've done in the marketplace.
And those are the best. You can't get a better referral source than those.
Exactly.
Than those folks. I really love the concepts here, and I think they're so valuable because it can be difficult to maybe come out. Sometimes folks have a perception in the business world that they have to put on a certain front in order to kind of adapt or put on this persona of, well, I'm this type of business person, and I'm this, or I don't. I never sleep. All I do is work, or I get up at 4 a.m. and do yoga all day, and then I eat nothing but the best food in the world. And you want to put on this show sometimes, and you're making a great point here to say that really what people are looking for is, hey, how can I really trust this person or this brand? How can I trust this brand? And if that brand is not exuding genuineness, then there'll be no trust.
Totally. I mean, that's a great point, because if you just look around, even if, let's say somebody's on a treadmill listening to this podcast or something like that, or they're driving in their car, and they look around, just listeners, find a brand right now. Just look around until you see a brand. Now, the question is, like what Trevor just said, do you feel that you trust that brand or that you don't trust that brand? Because if you don't trust, if you either trust the brand or you're questioning your trust in the brand, or you just know that you don't trust it and you highly dislike it. So, I mean, what do you want your brand to say? What is your brand promise when it comes to that trust to the consumer and the franchisee? That's the big question. In franchisee, you are the foundation for the trust in your marketplace. And if it's not up to the franchisor to build that trust, it's up to the franchisees to build that trust and to gather all the franchisees together and say, let's all raise the bar in this industry and be the most trusted brand in our industry. Go. I mean, this is a team sport. Franchising is a team sport. We all need each other in order to succeed in this. Let's do it together. You've invested in a franchise. The franchisor is invested in you, because they will not generally, work with somebody else right there in order to build the brand. So they're investing their time and effort in you as well. It's reciprocal. Let's all build it together. And then here's the thing: everybody wins when we do that.
You're bringing up a great concept, in my opinion, and that is not being siloed in your approach to success. And I think that, getting into that franchise environment, one of the great benefits is you have other examples. Hey, look at this franchisee up here that's doing this. Look at this one down here that's doing this. And you share those ideas. I think it's also important and valuable, and maybe you can talk to this at the franchisor level, for the franchisor, or maybe, in particular, the leadership at the franchisor, to not be siloed either, and to have peers that they talk to have folks that they interact with, other franchise brands. How do you get yourself involved in that type of scenario where you're going around saying, hey, I don't know everything. Let me go talk to somebody else that's in my shoes and see what they know.
Well, I mean, first of all, you obviously go talk to other franchisors if you're a franchisor. If you're a franchisee, you can go talk to other franchisors or talk to other franchisees. The IFA is a great place for that. The convention's coming up this coming weekend. It'll probably be after this airs, but the reality is we have stuff all year round for the IFA. There's multi-unit, there's emerging brands, there's you name it. There are different marketing and technology conferences all over the place. So the reality is you need to go get around people like you, and go get around people that you want to be like. So, for instance, if you want to become a multi-unit franchisor, multi-unit franchisee, go to the MUFC, the multi-unit franchise conference, and talk to other multi-unit franchisees, or people that have hundreds of franchises there, or even a handful or dozens or whatever. But talk to people and, just network. There's also the franchisor forum. If you're a franchisor, the IFA has I think it's a monthly call. I've been on several of those, and it's a really good conversation. There are a few dozen people that hop on there. I think this last month we had up to like 60 or 70 or something like that. It was pretty cool. But you're not going to grow in a silo, and Trevor, you mentioned that word. That is the biggest enemy of growth, is siloing. And it's also the biggest grower of egos, because you become so protective of your own vertical, whatever that may be. Maybe it's the franchise, or maybe you're the chief operating officer or the head of IT or HR, or who knows what it is, sales. And we see siloing occur between sales and marketing or franchising all the time in different companies, just across the board. You have to break those walls down. A great way to understand that is do an employee survey. Ask people, do you feel like you can reach out across boundaries and help other people in other departments? how's your change management in your organization as a leader? Are you building a succession plan throughout the organization as a leader? Do you have good governance in how departments treat each other? So, a lot of corporate speak there, but it all means something because it prevents silos and it encourages growth and trust and everybody, having good governance to grow the company for the right reasons.
Absolutely. All right. So listen, I think we're well established at this point. This guy knows what he's talking about in the franchise space. We're learning a lot. We love it. Appreciate that, Adam. Let's talk a little bit about you just for a minute. Adam has a book, Start with a Win.
Nice.
That's it. Katie read it, and Katie started with a loss, but now she thinks after this book she's going to move into that win category where she's
Way to go, Katie.
That's it. But a lot of the principles in that book we've been talking about because you're living those, you're embodying those action items. But maybe pull out, if you could, there's the military phrase, VUCA, and kind of what that means and things like that. And you can get into that if you want to or whatever. But maybe pull out a couple gems from your book just so people understand, hey, we're not just talking success at the franchisor level. We're just talking success, period. And how you really, just in your life, generate a win and success for yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm a firm believer that we have to stack up as many wins every day as we possibly can. And, life is not trying to achieve one thing. It's trying to find little bitty successes every single day. And you're going to have challenges. That's the reality. Life is not it's just Pollyanna super easy. I don't know anybody, even the most successful people I've ever met, have massive challenges. In fact, it seems to be that the more successful you are means the larger challenges you've overcome. So, I mean, you want to find somebody who has a hard head. I bet you they've been hitting the head really hard before. And somebody who's built an amazing amount of wealth has been dirt poor before, most likely, or has really struggled financially. But the reality is these people attacked it every single day. They went after building these successes every single day instead of, first of all, hoping something good was going to happen for them. Here's the reality. Nobody's going to deliver success to you. You have to go find it yourself. And that's what Start with a Win is about. It's about what do we do every day in order to accomplish success. I get up, you talked about having this ridiculous, effort on your part. I do get up every morning at 4:30 in the morning and go to the gym. Why? Because I want to start. First of all, I hate it. It sucks, but I love the results from it.
Okay. Now, see, that's why I'm going to give you a pass, because at least you're telling the truth. What I don't like is these guys go around and say, "Oh, I'm up at 4. Oh, it's the best. I love it." No, you don't. Of course you don't love it. You're doing it because you're trying to accomplish something, and that's a good thing.
Trevor, I got up this morning and I looked over. I have 2 German Shepherds, and when my alarm goes off at 4:30, I get a wet nose in the face, okay? And what happened this morning is I didn't have a wet nose. You know what I did? I hit snooze, and then I thought to myself, you hypocrite. Mm-hmm. You set a standard, go do it. And it's the coach saying, get your butt out of bed, put on your running shoes, and go run in the rain in order to be a better runner. So that's the reality is we have to go pursue these challenges each day. It's the pain of discipline is really what it comes down to. So Jim Rohn, great motivational speaker and mentor and things of that nature, said there are 2 kinds of pains in life. There's the pain of discipline and there's the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. So think about that for a second. Everybody that's listening to this. Those disciplines of doing the little things every day. Maybe it's maybe you're going to school right now. You're going and getting your degree or something like that, and you want to put off doing all your homework until the day before the class is. Well, here's the reality: is that's the pain of regret, because then you're like, oh my gosh, I never realized it was going to be this hard. The pain of discipline is I just got home from class. I'm going to spend a half an hour getting started on this, and then a little bit the next day, and a little bit the next day, and you'll be done like 3 days before you have to go back to class. So that's the pain of discipline: is those little bitty bits. Doing your push-ups every day, drinking water instead of soda, having the salad instead of the French dip or whatever it might be. I like a good French dip. But the reality is all these little things add up. They compound in your life to create greater successes. So we're looking for these little bitty successes maybe making another sales call, maybe going and visiting another customer or a franchisee, or walking into your boss's office to go, I don't think this is going to go right, but I want to tell you now before it really goes wrong. Things like that. We have to build up on those things. And I'm not just talking about business here. The Start with a Win is about your whole life. So what's that look like with your marriage? What's that look like with your relationship with your kids, or the rest, your outside family that doesn't live in the same house as you or something like that? Are you communicating with them that you love them and making sure that those bridges are built, not burned, with these people? How do we work on those things? How do we look at our finances? How do we look at our health? We talked about exercising, but your health and your fitness. Are you working on that every day? Your faith, whatever it might be. Maybe it's meditating. Maybe it's going to church. Who knows? But there are lots of things going on in your life that you need to go after wins for. And when those wins start building up, life becomes happy and successful. And that's what this book is about.
Man, fantastic stuff. We've went on a great journey here, I think, of really zeroing in on success metrics for not for what the franchisees need, franchisors, your communication, the trust building, the genuineness, and then also, as we transition into your book, building up that reservoir of wins. Every day is an opportunity for multiple wins every day, not just one a year or something like that, but really attacking each day, which I think is a beautiful concept. Adam, any parting thoughts you got for us before we wrap up?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you to Trevor and Katie for having me on here. This is fantastic. And, I really look forward to helping anybody I possibly can in this industry. You just reach out to me. They can find me at adamcontos.com. And, but the reality is, when we look at the franchising industry and really small business overall, we're going to have challenges. It's how we deal with those challenges and move forward that really shows our true self and our true business and the culture behind it. You're going to have bumps in the road. Get up and keep going. Put a smile on your face. Never settle for something less than you believe is the best. And just wake up tomorrow, go after it, and enjoy yourself. Life is about being, overcoming challenges and enjoying ourselves. So go after that every day. And, if there's anything I can do, you know where to find me.
There you go. Folks, it's not a sin. We're going to start with a win every day, just like Adam is preaching to us. Katie, I know you've learned a lot. I know I've learned a lot. Everybody listening today has learned. And Adam, we really appreciate you, man. Everybody, tune in next week. More FranchisOR Bust coming your way. Adam, thanks again, bud.
Thank you. It's great to see you both.
Come on.